Hey, I did it.
You did
Hey,
it. Good
I did
job.
it. Thank you. Hey, everybody.
Hi,
Um,
everybody.
so glad you guys are here. Thank you for joining. I don't usually do this alone. So if I am terrible at it, please forgive me. And Kat will just make fun of me in my personal life, just so you know. If I screw it up, she'll be all over me. So, how are you, Miss Kat? It's been so long since I've seen you.
It has not been that long.
I know, it was a joke. Kat and I went to Vegas. We were both at Boss Reseller Remix, and I will say that Kat and I did have a good time. We did. Vegas is a fun place. If you have never been, you should absolutely go at some point. Just bring bail money just in case.
I did not get arrested.
No, nobody got arrested, but these things happen. Sometimes get out of control.
Sometimes people get arrested.
It's true. So, Kat, we're going to talk reselling, all the things.
All the things.
And all the things. So, would you do me a favor? So, Kat and I are friends. We've been friends now, I don't know, for like a year and a half, 2 years.
No, I think it's longer than that.
Is it been longer? Kat is someone that I talk to almost every single day. So, and Dalton, her son, I love her son to death. And he amuses me because when he gets in the car now, he just says, "Hi, Trish." And every time Kat goes, "How do you know it's Trish?" So he's just my little, I love him to death. We had a good time in Vegas too. He was there also. So, but explain to anybody who maybe you are not in their universe, please explain to everybody who you are. I'm going to throw your links in the chat in case anybody would like to follow you.
So I am a full-time reseller since February of 2022, but I've been reselling off and on since the late 90s. And I started this time in 2019. That's when I started my YouTube channel, and I just built it up while I was still working full-time nursing. I was burnout long before COVID, so COVID definitely didn't help. And then my plan was to quit at the end of 2022. I got mad in February at my boss and handed my 2-week notice and haven't looked back. So I've been full-time for over 3 years now, which is crazy for me to think because it really doesn't feel like that long. But yeah, it's been
It doesn't. That's funny because to
doesn't
me,
feel like that long to me.
You have had such an impact on. You grew very, very quickly. I think you're very honest and you say things that a lot of other YouTubers don't say out loud sometimes. And I think you're somebody who really, kind of, you've got great content and people become a little bit, you have great fans. They're like rabid for everything you do. And it's a great thing. But I think that you are somebody who really kind of put yourself out there and nothing is off limits. And so that's a lot different from other YouTubers, in my opinion. And I think you don't hold back about how difficult this work can be. I mean, it is a grind. You have to do the work and you're not afraid to talk about that. And, it's funny to me that it's only been that long because I think you've had a really big impact in such a short time.
I mean, it's been 5 years though, but I mean, is that a short time?
It is a short time. We were talking about it this morning. I run a mastermind class on Listing Party, and we were talking about people like Steve Rakin and Chris Green, the Green Room.
The first round.
Right.
I'm the third round.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all of these YouTubers that kind of go and you just seem to have really gotten to the top in your thing. To me, anyways, you've just gone very fast. And so I really think that being a nurse has helped you. I think you're able to juggle many things where I think a lot of people can't do full-time reselling and full-time YouTube at the same time.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's not easy. And so what made you decide, other than COVID, what made you decide to go full-time into this? Was YouTube a big part of that?
No, well, it was all Dalton. Everything has been driven by Dalton. So if people don't know, I started over. I have almost a 17-year age gap between my daughter Brooke and Dalton. And so having a child in your 40s, you care. I hate to say care a little more. I hate to say
no,
that.
but your perspective
When
is
I was
different.
20, I'm like, here, mom, have the kids. I'm going to the
Right.
bar.
Right.
Like, and now, like, I'm not going to do that. So yeah, so it was hard to have him. We lost babies before him. I had him, then he ended up in the NICU, which was super stressful, on life support. So once he finally was home, I didn't want to go back to work. I didn't want to be away from him.
Yeah.
So that kind of fueled me starting it, and kind of gave me, and I tell everybody, like, you always need to know your why,
Yeah.
to be able to do this. It's a lot of work. You can love it all you want. It's still a lot of work. And so that's definitely has been and still remains my why, is I want to be able to be home with him more and spend more time with him. Like, I can go to any school functions. I don't have to worry about requesting off. I do what I want when I want to do it.
But that comes with a lot of work that I think sometimes other resellers don't talk about. And that's kind of what I was trying to say before is, to be able to have the flexibility, you need to be able to make sure your work's getting done, make sure the listings are going up, make sure the items are being shipped out. And you do now have some help with that, right?
Yeah. And I got to a point where I couldn't do both without help. And I think the majority of people, at least that are doing it like to the level I am, have help. And so for me, it was either scale back on eBay, scale back on YouTube, or get help. They're definitely both full-time jobs. And for me, I respond to every YouTube comment. I still respond to every YouTube comment. And I've said since the beginning, I'm going to do that as long as I possibly can. And so that alone takes up, time every single day, responding to all the comments. So I decided to get help rather than scale back. Because I could sell less on eBay and still do YouTube, but I want to have a model where I know I'm making it if I'm teaching it, if that makes sense.
And that's a really good point, because there are some YouTubers who start out as full-time resellers, but then they don't transition. When they transition, they don't really do both. And you're now just selling for content. You're not really selling does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, you're not selling, you don't have a full-time business. You're just selling to be able to make content. And one of the things that I think why you have such a great following and why people really follow you is because you really do still have a full-time reselling business. And so you have
and I try and tell people, because sometimes it does not pay for labor.
No.
Like, it doesn't always. And I try and tell everybody that, especially like when I do my what solds, I show like the back of my eBay, and there are a lot of days that sales are not covering payroll. And I think that's something that everybody that's thinking about getting employees needs to really realize, especially full-time employees, because sometimes it's not, you need to be prepared that the sales aren't going to cover payroll.
And so when I hired, I definitely took a hit for a while. And I absolutely tell that to anybody. You need to be able to understand that it's going to take a little while for your business to catch up to the payroll. Do you use virtual assistants or all in person?
It's all in person.
Have you thought about virtual? Have you ever even considered it?
Like, I listened, what was her name that talked with you?
Crystal.
So I listened to Crystal, but I didn't really know where, like, I kind of saw what she's doing, but she's doing all close. So I'm not. So finding a VA that would be able to kind of look over listings like she's having them do, I don't think it is really feasible, because I do such a wide array of stuff. And she's still pricing, which is what I do as well. So it sounded like her and I are very similar, minus she's added a VA to look over the listings that are closed. But with me not doing any certain genre. Like today and yesterday, I was listing a lot of jewelry, and the day before it was clothes. So there's not like somebody would have to have my knowledge to be able to look over my listings.
So I do think that's a good point. When you niche down, certain things become easier, right? Shipping becomes easier when you niche down. Inventory control becomes easier, as in like physically controlling it, because
right.
you don't have to have all different areas for different items. I think being an everything seller is a more difficult journey. And do you consider yourself an everything seller, or do you think of yourself as niche down in certain specific
No,
items?
I'm not niche down in any way. Everybody always asks, what do you sell? And I'm like, if it's legal and I can make a profit, I'll sell it.
So are you?
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead. I apologize.
No, I was going to say, I get bored really, really easy. So like for me, I want to enjoy what I'm doing too. And I like to buy different things. I like to learn about different things. And I think like if I niche down, I think I would be so incredibly bored, and I don't think I would enjoy it as much.
So let me ask you a question then. Because you're not niche down, you're able to, is this by feel now, or do you still look up comps? Like, how do you decide when you find something new that it's worth getting?
I still make mistakes. I'll say I still make mistakes every time I go out. And I look up comps, especially if I'm paying more. Like if it's dollar items, I'm not, I kind of am going on, like feel in my gut. There's some stuff I know, but if I have signal, if I'm paying, I'll say like $10 or more, I'm looking it up, regardless. But because and I think everybody that resells knows like the market's changing every single day. So something that was worth $100 when I sold it a year ago might not be worth anything now, or it might be worth more. So I think kind of thinking everything is not beneficial to anyone, because it changes unless you're selling. Like you said, if you're niche down and you're selling the same things over and over and over, what the market's doing day-to-day basis. But me, I might find something, not find it again for 3 years. So I have to look it up again.
So then let me ask you a question. How are you doing that, and where are you doing that? Meaning, are you Google lensing? Are you doing it inside of eBay research? What is your go-to worth point?
eBay.
I don't know.
Because that's my main selling platform. That's where we sell the most. So eBay is where I'm going to look up the comps. If I can't find it there, then I'm going to WorthPoint. But the majority of the stuff I pick up in thrift stores is really cheap. So a lot of that stuff I'm just picking up. I'm not looking up. And the ones that I am researching, I'm researching online estate auctions. So I'm at home, I have signal. I don't have to worry about, not being able to get a signal when I'm at home.
I know. How many times have we all like been in a thrift store and walked up to the very front to see if we could figure out, get in. Yeah, exactly. And so do you decide that based on just knowledge? So what if somebody is new? Do you suggest just going in and looking up everything? Like, what's your suggestion?
That's how you learn. Look up every single thing. Because I learned, and I still do this. I'm very transparent. I'll tell the stuff that I'm doing that you probably should not be doing.
Right.
And one of them, there's stuff that I like that I pick up that I know it's going to take a year or more to sell, and I don't care. I like it. I'm going to pick it up. I want to sell it.
Well,
but if you don't have a lot of space,
that's what I was going to say.
You don't have a lot of money, you don't want to do that.
But I think that's totally a good point. You have all of this, not all of the space in the world, but you have a lot of space.
I have a lot of space, yeah.
And so space for you is never a real issue.
No, not really, no.
And so...
Except furniture. Like I was doing furniture for a while, and then freight went up because of gas, when gas went up. And so I haven't started looking at that again. I would like to, because you can make big profits on furniture, but I don't have space for all of these big things. But average size things, yes, I have a lot.
All right. And so because of that, you don't ever think of that when you're sourcing. And I think you're right. There are a certain amount of people who are like, well, I can't, I got to sell 12 things before I can bring this back into my house or wherever. And what about, so if sourcing, if size is never, what about turnover? Do you ever really worry about that? Isn't something I've ever really thought about much.
I'm
So,
trying to more, and I'm trying, and that's honestly for my viewers more than myself,
okay,
because I have to realize not everybody has all the space that I have.
right.
So I've always told how long things take to sell,
Mm-hmm.
because I think newer people get in and they think they're going to list this thing and it's going to sell tomorrow and they're going to ship it out the next
Right.
day. And that's not how it works. But there are, resellers that operate strictly on 100% sell through, which means it's going to sell in 3 months. I am
Right.
not. That's not me. So I do look at it, but not as much as somebody who doesn't have space, or if they're new. And some people don't want it in their store more than 6 months. They get rid of it. I don't. Like, if I list it, it's going to sit here. If it's 2
So
years or 4
I agree
years.
with you. I don't get rid of it either. But do you run sales?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. And I try and do mostly stuff I've had over a year.
Okay.
And what I'll do is like 40% off, so that I can still send them an extra 10% off offer, because
Okay.
my lowest is half off.
Okay.
So I leave myself that 10% buffer so I can still send offers while the sale's running.
So you're not somebody who runs sales all the time.
I used to be. I used to mark up, just to
Me
mark
too.
down.
And
And
why'd you
I quit
stop that?
doing that, because if I go to an antique mall and I see a 50% off sign, and then I walk in and realize they've marked it all up, that's why it's 50% off, it ticks me off. And I was like, I am doing exactly what I hate other people doing. And so I finally was like, I'm stopping it. I'd done it for years. And so now my sales are really random. Like, if sales are bad, I'll be like, oh, I need to throw up, a 40% off on the older stuff. So I don't really do it on newer. The last time I ran it, I accidentally ran it for a month. I recommend not doing it more than a week.
Right.
And I'm like, forget it. I'm like, why is the sale still on? It was on for a month. And I left it, but I don't, and I did 6 months and older instead of a year. So I actually had stuff lower price than what I really wanted to take, but sales were so low, I was kind of like grasping at straws to try and get some sales coming in.
And what about offers? Do you send them daily? How do you handle that?
I send them multiple times a day, at least twice, sometimes 3 or 4 times. I think that, and I know some people wait till like Friday because they think people get paid. For
Yeah.
me, I think the sooner I send that offer after somebody looks at something, the fresher it is in their mind. So I want to try and send them multiple
I
times a
agree with
day.
that. I do that also. I do it multiple times a day. What do you have a set price that you always do? Do you always do like 15 or 20, or or the 10 that you were talking about? What do you send immediately?
So we started putting in our SKU when the items are listed, so that when I'm sending offers, I can easily see, like, this was listed September, this was listed October, and I do 10% off on anything that's 3 months or newer. That means even if it was listed yesterday, I'm going to
Yeah.
send them 10%. And then from 3 months to a year, I do 30%. And then after a year, I send 50%. Leroy's sending you money.
Leroy, I don't think no one do super chats. Leroy.
No, I think, did it go to me or did it go to
I have
you?
no idea where it went. Hopefully it went to you.
Where's the money? Hi, Leroy.
Hi, Leroy. Leroy, and I've met Leroy a couple of times. We met at FlipCon, and he's a Rhode Island boy, and so I'm always pleased to meet somebody from New England who resells. Um, so let me ask you this. I buy big thing, then I don't source a while, then I do it again. Thrifted Spirit said that. I think they must be talking about quantity.
No, I think maybe like furniture. That's what I do.
Oh.
Like, I'll buy like a few big furniture. I don't know if that's what they mean, but I'll buy a few big furniture pieces, and then until those big furniture pieces sell, I don't get any more.
So I've never sold furniture. And when you were talking about, so you used to crate it and ship it in freight?
No, so U-Ship is great. I have a video on U-Ship. They actually come and pick it up and blanket wrap it and take it out of wherever it is and put it in their truck and bring it to your buyer's front door. And I did that with furniture. I did it with like a $3,000 Capa di Monte piece, which it was like 20 inches, so it was pretty big. But it's really easy because you don't know. I don't crate it. I know some people crate it, and it would probably be cheaper for my buyers if I did, but I just do U-Ship, and it's cool because they bid on it, so you can like put how much you want to pay. Different people will come and like tell you when they can pick it up, and then they come pick it up and off it goes.
It's cool. So explain to me, okay, so how many platforms do you sell on right now?
Right now, as far as static listings, we're on eBay, Etsy, Mercari, Poshmark.
Okay,
And then
so
we
I
also just
wanna
went
ask
back
about,
to live selling too.
yeah, so I want to talk about those separately. So let's talk about static listings first. So static meaning you make I just want to make sure anyone who's here who knows what we're talking about. Static meaning you make the listing and it stays until someone else buys it. It's never going to like go to a live show. So how are you doing on Mercari at the moment?
Sucky.
Oh, it has
I think we've had
been,
like one. Let me look. Yeah, we've had one sale in like a week and a half. It was a handkerchief.
Mercari is, I do not know what the hell they're doing over there.
I don't know. Yeah, it kind of died.
So is eBay your top selling platform?
Yeah, by far.
And okay, so then tell us about your live selling.
So we just started back on knickknacks and whatnot. And my plan right now is to alternate the two of them until either one comes out on top. And if they're pretty equal, then we'll just keep doing both of them. And then we might start getting clothes to do common threads, which is Kevin's Commonwealth Picker, because I get all the dollar clothes. So we might try some clothing auctions over there as well.
So is that a district platform?
It is. Yep.
Yeah.
It's district too.
I just wanted to just make sure. So, and so tell us about Knickknack. I don't know if a lot of people know what that is.
So Knickknacks is Jocelyn, which she's a good friend of mine, Crazy Lamp Lady. She's up in Pennsylvania. So she does vintage, antique, and I think she has a handmade section on there too. I have primarily done jewelry on there, but I also I love my vintage linen. So we do the vintage linen sometimes. But like the newer stuff couldn't go on there. So that's where like the clothing I could bring over to common threads.
I haven't gone on there and looked at it yet. I have to go look.
I haven't joined that one yet. I'm on commons. I do have wholesale lots on there right now, on commons for other resellers that I buy for $1 and I sell them for $3 a piece. And I think I still have like 8 lots of clothing still up there.
Oh, is that all clothing? That's what you do for that? I didn't think I realized it was all clothing.
That's the main thing, because I can find it for $1, so I can, sell it to somebody else for $3, which is still cheaper than they'd pay at Goodwill or something.
Absolutely. And how do you decide what to buy on that?
Well, I'm selling on there though.
No, I mean, how do you decide what to buy at $1 to make a lot? I'm just wondering. Yeah, okay. That's what I was asking. That's what I was wondering.
Well, no, we've done like golf polos, because I can find a lot of golf polos here in Florida. So we do golf polos, and then fishing shirts, like the Columbia Vintage fishing shirts. And then we've done like Nike, Adidas sports lots. What else do we do, Prissy? Uncommons. Ties. Yeah, I found like a good lot of ties on an online estate auction. So, I mean, it's stuff that I know I can get a lot of the same type of thing, because I don't really want to make like all these like don't make sense lots. And we did like nice long sleeve button ups too. Because I mean, if I can get them for $1, and they're decent. Oh yeah, I did do some jewelry wholesale lots on there. But that's because I wasn't selling live. So I'll tell you, those will not be up there because we're selling them. And if I'm selling them, I'm not going to offer them. Now we are going to do though some like broken lots. So for craft people, just to try and figure a way to like sell everyone, or sell every piece of that lot, you know,
Yeah.
and
Well,
give
and
somebody a good deal.
crafters love the broken stuff.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So Rebecca asked, is there a platform for selling big bundles to other resellers?
Yeah, that's Commons. Yep,
So,
it's district Commons, it's Kevin Commonwealth's, and it is like we've done very, very well on there.
yeah, so go check it out. It's
So how do you find it?
Do you just Google district and then Commons? Is that how you would find it?
Put district Commons, it'll come up. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. So what do you like better, static listings or the live selling?
So we were talking about this, and I in 2022 and 2023 was primarily concentrating on live. I like whatever the hell makes me the most money. And so in 22 and 23, I was concentrating on live sales because that's where the money was. And then the money started dwindling on live sales, and then I went back to eBay. So right now my concentration's on eBay. And then one of my employees has been doing the live selling, and she loves it. I love doing it, but if the money's not there, it's like more like time efficient for me to be listing stuff on eBay.
Right. So,
you know,
and I mean, that's so true. And I also think that it's one of those things that you need to actually do the numbers, actually look at really what you're making, how many hours it took you to do it, and be honest with yourself. And I think so you need to really know what you're looking at and really be sure that the numbers add up, whether it's static listing or live, right? I mean, it doesn't matter, either one.
I think the big thing though, like with like the live selling with Whatnot, because I did $250,000 in 2022 and 2023, which sounds lovely, right? That sounds friggin' amazing. Except the profit is not there. And a lot of that, I lost money. I spent well over $100,000 on inventory, and I was doing live sales 5 days a week. So I was putting in a lot of time. I was spending a lot of money, and it really was not like, yeah, like I said, it sounded great for me to say that, but it was not like the first year it was, but the second year we were losing money. And it's like, yeah, I have all these big numbers and that's great. But when I have to pay $10 to $15 to get something that's going to sell for 20, I just put out $15 to make like $2.50.
If that,
you know,
if you take your time into consideration, you're not even making that.
No.
Right.
So it sounds great. But it's, it isn't necessarily, if you can't find stuff really cheap or really good stuff, people will pay on live sales if you can find good stuff. But the question then is, how much good stuff can you find at a good price and offer it where people buy it, and you're still making money.
And not for 5 days a week. I mean,
right. That's a lot. And I was doing 100 a day.
So what would you do? How many shows now does, we've only
done 2. We've only done 2 this week. She was supposed to come today, but her son was sick. So I haven't scheduled until I know we have like a routine and a pattern, and I haven't promoted them because she's kind of learning it and learning the platforms. And I know previously, if it was not me, stuff did not sell for as much. And so that's something I have to take into consideration too. Right. But Shannon's very, very outgoing. She's very good on camera, and she's been doing amazing. Everybody's like, you're new at this. So she's really, really good for it. And she likes being behind the camera. Me, when I'm live selling, you don't see me.
You just hear you. I know.
You just hear me. But I think everybody knows my voice. But from like different guests that have been on my podcast, they say you'll make more money if they see you. I just haven't been willing to, because like me, if I'm going to go on camera, I feel like I need to look like this. And I don't want to have to get and look like this every day.
So there you go.
I do this like once or twice a week, if that. So if you watch my thrifting videos, you see like the real me, and people are like, what happened? Life.
That's not true. Um, so do you think there are certain marketplaces that do better for certain inventory?
Sometimes, but I really push everybody to list everything everywhere because, like I just went over, I have them up here. Like, so on my Posh, like the last thing to sell was a friggin' Japanese bonsai tree. And then I sold shoes, which is what you would think of, a hat. I sold an Anchor Hawking casserole dish. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, people like normally associate Posh with like clothes and purses and shoes,
Yeah.
but the majority of our stuff on Posh is not. Like, I'm looking through here, like napkin rings. We do sell clothes, but I mean, it's probably 50-50 between the stuff that you would, assume is going to sell on Posh, and then Mercari isn't selling anything. And then now Etsy's the only one I sparingly post to. I don't, well, for one, it has to be over 20 years old. It has to be vintage. But I've went like a step further. So I'm doing jewelry. I did some purses. I did my Native American stuff. I think I only have 300 listings on Etsy compared to 8,000 on eBay. So definitely being a lot pickier because it's 20 cents every 4 months. And I can't have a store that like covers all my listings like I do on eBay. So I dwindled that down.
And so tell me about cross posting or cross listing. Hold on one second though. I just want to say there's a few people in the chat who've asked about will List Perfectly ever cross post or cross list to district, and somebody else asked about whatnot. Please go in and do a feature request because Clara and Amanda take those really seriously, and if enough people ask, they're going to do it. So when you go into your List Perfectly in the main page, there's a thing for a feature request. And I would love it if you guys would do that because they do read them and they do take them into consideration. So explain to me about what marketplaces you decide go on what, your inventory. And how do you decide that?
So everything, and I say everything, but it's really not everything. 99% goes to, well, everything goes to eBay. Everything, hands down, everything is on eBay. Poshmark, as long as it's under £5. So I will not list it if it's over £5 on Posh because they charge you so much for those extra labels. I have made the accident, like it goes over. I don't think it's gonna. And then Mercari, pretty much everything goes up. But I think Mercari has a limit, like 1,500 or 2,000. Or I had something high dollar and Mercari wouldn't allow me to list it last week. I don't remember. So they have a dollar. They do have a topped out dollar amount. Posh does not, to my knowledge.
No, because and Posh has, if it's a pocketbook or certain things, they do the
they only authenticate over $500 is an interesting thing. So we've sold some high dollar Nikes and shoes that eBay would have required authentication and Posh does not.
Yep. So yeah, it's the $500. What's the money value on eBay? I don't think I knew that. I don't think I knew
I think it's like 100 on the shoes for eBay, and that's your asking price. So if you accept an offer of 50 and it was at 100, they're still gonna authenticate it.
Oh, interesting. Well, I mean, I think eBay is really trying to get into StockX, right? They're trying to get their market share back of the sneakers they lost.
Shoes, yeah. They've I've seen quite a bit of advertising for that.
Rebecca says eBay does live sales. Yes, they do.
Yeah, but it's only like the massive giant sellers. So I know Rod applied 2 years ago. I applied 2 years ago. It seems like it's like they're big power sellers. And I mean, I sell a good amount, but I mean people with like 20, 30, 40,000 items.
Yeah.
And most of the ones I've seen, they're just flashing up static listings.
I think that's true. That's what I was going to say.
Live selling.
Correct. That's exactly what I was going to say. eBay is trying to get to where they'll do what Posh and whatnot are doing. They're not there yet. Supposedly, they said 2024. It didn't happen. So Kat's completely right. They put up a static listing. So then like it would be like Kat showing her eBay store and directing people to that. It's not live selling. It's not the same. So okay. So tell me about your listing process.
So Prissy, she's in the back with pictures doing it now. Like our photograph section is actually right behind me. So I let her know I was going to be live. So she took pictures to have them ready. Prissy takes the pictures and she uses AI Express Lister. We create them in batches of 10. So photograph 10 and then do the listing. And then I come in behind her. So the listings are kind of already made. I come in behind her. I might tweak the title a little bit, check the description, make sure like the maker, what it is, because of the same thing, like me having so much different stuff. And then I price it and I put it out like, and Teresa actually gave me this tip and it helps. Like, so I'll price 10 items and then I put 10 of them out to eBay. And then, so I used to like take all 10 and put them to eBay, Posh, Mercari, and Etsy if I was doing that. And then, you know, every tab was a different marketplace. So now I do 10 to just eBay. So that way I'm looking at the same exact place to click.
Right.
And then I do 10 to Mercari, 10 to Posh, and then I'll look and pick because like I said, most of them aren't going to Etsy. So I'll go backwards and then I'll select the ones that I want to go to Etsy and then I'll do another 10. Like right now, I think I have 5 priced. Like I'll start pricing, but I don't put them out until I have 10.
So, and I think, you know, one of the things about Express Lister and the listing assistant is that you now can do it. I don't know about you, but it's sped up my process tremendously since I've used it. So for me, I get more done in a shorter amount of time. Has Prissy found that?
With the Express Lister?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot faster. Rather than having to look up and sell similar. So that actually worked out well because my mom was doing the cross posting. So now because of the fact that I'm the one that's pricing and we're creating our listings and list perfectly, it kind of like did away with what my mom was doing because what we were doing was selling similar on eBay. I would put the listings on eBay and then my mom would come into LP and she'd come into eBay, take it from eBay into LP and then LP out to Posh and Mercari.
Right.
But she actually ended up not needing to work that much. And so it worked out well. So now I'm the one that does all of the cross posting.
Yeah. So how about time saving from automation? Like I was thinking about this earlier. For me, from what I used to, so I have 11,000 listings. I had a full-time business before I started working for LP. And now my daughter does it. And she's not quite as driven, maybe is the right word, as I was. So, but now with using automation tools, she's getting up to where, and I every once in a while, and I think, man, if I was doing this now full time, how much stuff I would get listed would be crazy. But, you know, she's never going to want to work that hard. So we have that. So what about automation for you? Have you found that it has saved you money?
Yeah, I think because it's more like time efficient, you know, they're not like you don't have to go and search on eBay for something to sell similar, you know, it's just creating it. And everybody like asked me about categories. I don't care about categories. I bet you 90% of people that are searching on eBay or any of the other platforms, they're just searching for what they want. They're not looking at what category it's in. You know, I don't.
So I think that almost everything is sold by search also. So do you categorize your store at all?
No, I started to, but because I sell so much different stuff, I was like, forget this. And I reverted back and we use eBay categories because we just sell so much different stuff. It was just ridiculous.
Well, and all I sell is used clothing and I still just use eBay categories. I don't feel the need to have to reinvent the wheel in that way. Right. Like,
no, I don't think there's any benefit to that.
I don't think there's any benefit either. And if anyone was going to get any benefit, it would be somebody like you. I mean, because you must sell some stuff to to viewers.
Yeah, we do. It's not a ton. I actually had a $500 sale to a viewer last week, and that's probably the most that somebody has gotten. Typically, most people are going to come and buy like a $15 or $20 item, just to kind of show support. That was a really big sale. I have somebody else who will come and buy like 4 or 5 things like every few months. Most of the time they're grabbing when I'm sending that 50% off.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah.
What's up, Chris?
Yes, you did get some sun.
We've been going out on the boat every weekend.
Yeah, I was going to say that. It's nice weather in Florida before it gets too hot. She's out on the boat. So let's talk about the business side of reselling for a minute. How organized are you?
I'm not.
Okay. So what about...
I think she knew the answer to that before she asked me that question.
I did. So let me ask you about your inventory. How often do you have problems that you can't find something?
Not very often.
Okay.
I'm not what you would consider, and I've shown in a video, as far as organization for inventory, we can find it. Like, it might not be the most organized system, but we can find it. But it's not like all neat and pretty. It's a hot mess, but it's a marked hot mess, and we can find the stuff when it sells.
Good. And so what about your numbers? How on top of those are you? And
not as much as I should be.
Okay. Well, I think it's harder the bigger you get. I think it's harder to have it all. But I would really caution everybody, when you first start, you've got to know your numbers. You've really got to know how much time you're putting in, what you're really paying for things, what they're really selling for, what the real profit is. Right. And you have an accountant?
I do. He does everything. And he, like, and I always forget, like, he will send me like my monthly like profits and everything. But for me, I think the hard thing is like my eBay and my social media is like, you know, is half and half. So I am not as concerned about the bottom line on eBay as a regular reseller would be, if that makes sense. Because I have other income.
Daisy, I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about. I
think once you get to 250 items, you should be in a store. And the thing is, it repeats monthly, that 38 cents. So if you're over 250 items, every month when it auto renews, you're getting charged 38 cents. You can get a store for $9.99 a month. Like, why would you not do that?
So, Daisy, you don't have a store right now. You're just an individual who has listings. So you can go in. I mean, there's a starter store, which is $9.99. And if you sign up for the year, is it $7.99?
I don't know.
There's a price break if you sign up for the year.
$59.99 one.
I do too now. For the longest time, I had an anchor store. But when they gave us those 10,000 free listings.
See, but I have to watch because I'm getting close to that, right? Like,
I'm over. I have 11,000 and something.
How much is it?
No, I'm still at the $59.99 level. I think it doesn't make sense money-wise for me to go up until I hit 14 or 15,000.
Okay.
Teresa Cox has a chart that shows when it monetarily you should go up. I'll get it for you. I don't have it at the. If somebody else was here, I could find it real fast. But so let's talk about growing. Did you make a decision that well, I mean, I suppose you did when you decided you were going to be full-time, but how do you think other people should decide when you get bigger?
You're saying, do you see that? The $9.99 doesn't give you more than $250. You need the $20 store.
Okay. Thank you. Passionately Collected. Cute name. Yeah. I haven't used a low store in so long. I did not know that.
I didn't either.
So
I wanted to downsize. Like I've been saying for 2 years, and I still will say that, but I have a buying problem. And
Meaning you like to buy.
I do like to buy,
Yeah.
And I like to buy lots.
Me too.
That's where the issue comes in. So hopefully we can kind of like work it with the live selling and kind of, liquidate some of that out. I really would like to have less listings. I don't want to have more. I don't want to hit that $10,000 or 10. I would like to hit 10. I don't want to hit the 10,000 item mark for me. I would rather have higher dollar items and less inventory because I have that knowledge and I have that bank that I can use on that. Like last week, and I looked them up, I paid $70 and $80 for 2 train whistles, and they sold for $250 and $350 in less than a week. So I would love. I'll just sell train whistles. I mean, I can't find that many train whistles. Right?
Exactly. I'm on the phone with her earlier, and she's talking about. I'm like, train whistles? What the hell are you even doing? So, thank you, Leroy. He's so cute.
At least he didn't say twice a month. I guess
that's true. So what advice would you give to, either new or experienced resellers who decide they want to grow their business? Like, what do you think? What's your best piece of advice for that?
I think they need to decide how they want to grow. Like if they want to grow by the money they're making, by sourcing, higher dollar items, or do they want to grow in quantity? And then when you're doing quantity, then you have to think about, are you going to be able to ship out quantity? Or are you going to have to hire someone? Because paying somebody, you have to make a lot more money.
Okay. But what about, don't you think some of this depends on what you're able to source? Or do you think now with online?
All of it depends on that. I tell people that all the time. I would love to sell vintage t-shirts. I cannot find them. I cannot even find them on online auctions.
Right.
So guess what? I can want to be a niche down vintage t-shirt seller all I want. But if I can't find them, I can't sell them. So now you can find different things. Like I think realistically, I could niche down to only vintage linens. And I could find enough of a supply. I could totally do that. Hands down. Both live and static. But I don't want to do, I would get bored with that. But yeah, you have to look and figure out if you can find enough or where you're going to find it. Can you go to and I mean, people that are in cities like in Vegas, I'm like, look at all these amazing brand name clothes that I don't see. We bought most of them for ourselves. So somebody in Vegas could be a clothing seller so easy. Purses too, in Vegas and Phoenix in the Southwest. Like, man, like the purses that are in those thrift stores, like I feel like somebody could just sell purses if they live there. So yeah, you definitely need to figure out what you can find. And if you can't find a lot of one thing, that's when you turn. And it doesn't have to be everything, right? I mean, you could do clothing and shoes or clothing and purses or, whatever. But yeah, you have to know how you're going to find that inventory.
And do you think, what about the online? So at Boss, when you and I were both at Boss, you gave a talk about online sourcing, about sourcing from online and having it shipped to you. Do you think that a new seller, I almost think that's too advanced for a new seller, that you need to feel it?
I don't.
No? Okay, so tell me.
Not if you buy lots where your individual price per piece is really low. If you buy a lot of handkerchiefs, you're less than $1 in. If 5 of them have a rip, so what? You throw them away, or you could put them in a crafting lot. Honestly, you could still sell them. So, I mean, but a lot of people can't go out and do it. Like here for me, I have to drive an hour to get to a thrift store. And I know a lot of people that watch me like physically can't go out to the thrift store all day. I do better now, like after I lost weight, but I'll tell you, before I lost weight, I could not thrift all day. Physically, I could not. I was tired, my feet hurt, and I was done. I can now. I don't necessarily like to, but.
Well, Angie, you're not very close. You have to drive. I mean, it's not, it's not like you're going 5 minutes down the street to go to the local thrift store,
No.
right?
I
I
have
mean,
a couple. I do have a couple. I just don't find very much there.
yeah. Um, so I would love it if you guys would give me a thumbs up on this video. I would really appreciate it. And subscribe if you're new here. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. We try to do a lot of just generic reselling content, and we want to help you get to the next level. That is kind of my focus, is I want to help a reseller get to whatever they're trying to do, whether it's full-time or just make more money. So talk about ASP. So you said that if you had your druthers, you would have a smaller store and a higher ASP.
Right.
And
We're
you
close
don't.
to $40. We're not
That's
horrible.
pretty good. No, that's pretty good. That's pretty high.
And I mean, that.
What in God's name was that?
There was something on the list. You know how it dries out?
Yeah,
like
I totally know.
I didn't want on my mouth.
I totally do know.
So, yeah. So I mean, I think everybody needs to figure out like their own ASP that they want. Some people are okay. And like I said this, when I first started, $1 into 10, I'll take it all day long. Now that I'm paying somebody, I want a $25 sale, but if you're by yourself and you can turn $1 into 10 over and over and over and over, you're going to make a lot of money. And nobody's giving you that return on investment anywhere. That people can look down on $10 sales, but if you only paid $1,
I agree with you. I mean, I've always been a volume seller. And so for me, I think people, when you say you have an average, I think my ASP right now is like $22. But my cost of goods is less than $1. So for me, less than $1 into 22, I would do that all day long, constantly. And, I was very successful doing that. But you do need to have the room, and you need to be able to do you need to be able to ship it out, the volume. You need to be able to keep up your volume, because with a volume-based business, if you're not continually feeding the beast, it's going to slow down. You won't be able to make it work.
Right.
Whereas
I mean, you got to be able to find it. Correct.
And the thing with higher ASP items, if it's something's in demand, it's in demand, right? So it doesn't matter if you listed on Friday and you didn't list again for, 30 days. If it's a high enough demand, the item's going to sell. It's
whenever
the items
you list
right. It's the items that are just run of the mill that you need to make sure your store is very active and you're listing all the time to be able to sell those constantly. So it's a different game, really.
And that's where keywords too, like when I do my research videos, somebody could put like purse, but if it was a Gucci purse, I don't care if they had that in the title. Somebody's going to find that friggin' thing.
Exactly.
Multiple people will find that thing. So like the big thing is that like the more common your items are, the better your titles and your pictures have to be. Oh, so Leroy, after $1 into 10, I figure that 7. I would put it down to 7, not 8, because I paid $1 for it, and I figured 20% for eBay fees. And then I was going to say, somebody else asked about the tweaking on the LP on the titles earlier.
Oh yeah, that was Tommy.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I can find it.
Yeah, I saw that and I totally like spaced out.
So Tommy asked, I'll find it, but Tommy was asking about using the AI. Here it is. Kat, do you rely on the LP AI, or do you find that you have to edit title and description consistently since you sell such a varied product?
I edit every title, but a lot of it, I don't edit a lot. Like it might be like 1 or 2 words. So it still does pretty good at identifying. It's identified stuff that I don't know what the heck it is. But that's just because I want my keywords on point. And I know which keyword, like I haven't seen, at least yet, that like Express Lister is knowing like the boho and the cottagecore. I've seen boho pop up a few times. I have seen that, but like cottagecore and grandpa, like it doesn't know to put grandpa on a sweater.
Yeah. Have you tried? No, I think though. I think it will eventually. And I also think I do too. Have you tried to, when it pops up and you pick the tone?
So we were doing funny because I'm a smart aleck like that, and I had to take that off because it was a little too much. Chrissy, what are we doing? We're doing professional now. Okay. I went to professional.
But underneath that, there's a box that you can like give directions.
Like you could pick your own. I could put Southern professional.
Correct. But in that box,
you should try that.
You should have something in there and say like, please add descriptive keywords that fit blah, 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 like boho, grandpa. You should try that and see if it works. I'll send you
we would have to switch it on like each one, and she's doing sets of 10. They would have to all fit into that.
It's true. It's true.
Which sometimes they do. Oh, Chastity said the persuasive tone. Maybe we can try that. So we're like, you need to buy this thing, people.
Thank you, JoJo. We appreciate it. So when you sign up with LP, would they cross-post your items already listed, or is it just for nuances? No, you can absolutely do that. Yes. You can absolutely cross-post anything you already have.
You do it, Michael Lynn. Right. They don't do it. You have to click the button. So what I did, and I think my first LP video is on this, is I took everything from eBay, and you have to copy it into your List Perfectly catalog, and then you can move it. And then you could start creating the listings in LP after that fact. Right. I'm going to do a new LP video. My plan was to do it when I got back from Vegas, but I got back from Vegas with the flu and had no voice. And I'm just finally feeling, I'm still not 100%. I'm close, but I'm not 100%. So.
That's good, Teresa. I'm glad to hear that. Come to Listing Party. So anybody who uses LP, we have this free as part of your subscription called Listing Party. And Kat's coming next week, whether she knows it or not. She does know it. She loves me, so she's coming. So next week, Kat's going to come and we'll do a 1-hour Listing Party. So Listing Party is a free, our free community that comes with List Perfectly. So it's listingparty.com, and it's the same credentials that you use to get into List Perfectly. And if you go into events, Kat and I will have an event next week. I'll get it published today, I hope, if not by Monday. I use slightly funny tone for novelty items like mugs. It does say some funny stuff.
It's amusing to read. It can entertain you.
Yeah, it's very true.
But I don't know how much it entertains buyers. That's why I was like, I have to stop.
Oh, thank you, Kathleen. I really appreciate that. That's very sweet. How come sometimes my things aren't delisted on other platforms? Sometimes it doesn't. Is it because I'm opening it on my phone? So the thing about the delist, auto delist, is you need to have a dedicated space. So you need to either have a dedicated laptop or a dedicated desktop so that it will constantly run. You can just sit, you can decide how often you want it to do it. Jojo, if you cannot get it to work right, please go into List Perfect Listing Party. There's a 411 class Monday through Friday. And there's a guy from tech in there Monday through Friday, and he will help you figure this out. You may just not have the settings correct, but please come in or put in a ticket. We'd be more than happy to help you. Mastermind is a class that I do every single day, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern. And there's about 50 to 75 of us that meet, 40 to 75 of us that meet Monday through Friday. And we discuss a different topic every day. And it's just about trying to get you to be the best reseller you can. So please come in. Linda, I'm loving the delist relist so fast. Yeah. So the delist.
I haven't tried that yet.
Oh, it's one click. It's awesome. You've got to try it, Kat. I was going to ask you about that. I'm glad you brought this up, Linda.
Isn't it an app? The Listing Party is like an app thing you download, right?
No.
I swear I had to download like a thing.
Zoom?
But it's not on YouTube, Teresa. It's not on YouTube. It's on its own thing. YouTube.
It's listingparty.com. Or you can get there through List Perfectly. There's a inside, it'll just say to take you to it. Bill Clinton's here. That's so nice of him.
Oh, hello, Bill.
Hello, Bill. Yeah, I think the only thing you may have had to download, Kat, is Zoom.
Oh, maybe it was Zoom.
Yeah. But the D-list relist, that's only the first iteration. There's going to be a new one coming soon that's going to even make it more interesting, and it's going to really help with stale listings. So I have a question about that, Kat. Do you think about stale listings?
I relist everything every 4 months, so I have to figure out
4 months? Where'd you get that number? Just wondering.
That's just what I do. I don't know.
Okay, just wondering.
I'd say 3, but really I do 4. So like right now I'm relisting everything that was listed in November or before. So I do that every morning. Every morning I end every listing that's ending that day anyways, because I don't want to get charged twice for that listing. So I need to figure out if the end and relist has a way for me to figure out what's ending that day on eBay. That's what I have to figure out. Because that's what I want to relist.
Okay. Chastity, please. It was a known issue. I believe it's fixed, but I don't want to say that it is. But please go. If you go into known issues on LP, it will tell you. I was going to say something else. I got distracted by Todd's comment, who's the curator of Thrift, and I didn't want to say it out loud. So I don't know, Sweet Skate Soap. I don't know about that, honestly.
I know Canada people ask a lot.
Yeah, too. Canada people. Kat, thank you so much. This was fun. We're going to do this next week one day. I will get that up soon. Please come and join us. It will be great. And you guys can ask questions directly when we're in listing party. And anything else you'd like to say before we go, Miss Kat?
I don't think so. Like I said, I want to try and get a new LP out video for me and figure out and show all the new features that have come out since I've done one. Because my last one was really centered on AI on Express Lister. So hopefully I'll have that out soon. And yeah, and I think that's it. Thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you guys. We really appreciate it. And everyone have a great weekend. And hopefully I'll see you guys in listing party. Thanks, Kat. I appreciate it.
Bye, guys.
Nope, wrong. See? Sorry, guys. This is new. I'm very new at this. I apologize. Now I'm going to try it again. You ready? Bye, Kat.